I would like to call the Tuesday, December 14th, 2021 meeting of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority to order. The first roll of business is the roll call. Myra, can you do the roll call?
I can.
Thank you.
Commissioner Beloga.
I'm present.
Commissioner Hugheim.
Present.
Commissioner Lewis.
Present.
Commissioner Olson.
Present.
Commissioner Thorson. Let the record note that Commissioner Thorson is not present yet, but I know that he is planning on being here.
Okay. Probably stuck in
We
traffic.
we have a quorum and we can start our meeting.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the approval of the agenda, do I hear a motion to approve the December 14th, 2021 HRA Commission meeting agenda?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Beloga?
Thank you. I noticed in the meeting.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
I'm sorry, is that better?
Okay, still. Did you move to approve the agenda? I just didn't hear it.
That we have an adoption of a.
Okay, I honestly cannot hear you. Can you get it any louder?
We can hear him though.
Okay, but I can't respond to anything he's saying.
Let me turn the volume up. Does that help?
That helped.
Okay, thank you. That we have a policy 5.3, but we adopt a subordination policy prior to that, which refers to the fair housing policy. So I wondered if we were doing that in the right order.
Administrator Coleman? I think we're talking about 5.2 and 5.3.
Thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioner Beloga. Please note that we will switch the order of 5.2 and 5.3. And so the order of the revised agenda for new business would be fair housing policy, then adoption of subordination policy for Bloomington HRA assisted owner occupied properties.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve the corrected agenda?
Below
Commissioner Thorson, so moved.
Commissioner Thorson, so moved. Do I hear a second?
Beloga, second.
All right, it has been moved by Commissioner Thorson, seconded by Commissioner Beloga to approve the agenda as amended. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga.
Aye.
Hugheim.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
And let the record also note that Commissioner Thorson joined at 6:04.
Thank you.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Now moving on to unfinished business, item 4.1, memorandum of I'm sorry, almost forgot the minutes. Moving on to approval of the minutes of November 23rd, 2021. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the November 23rd, 2021 meeting?
Beloga, so moved.
Second, Commissioner Hugheim?
Yes, I second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Beloga with a second by Commissioner Hugheim to approve the November 23rd, 2021 meeting minutes. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga.
Aye.
Hugheim.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Abstain, I was absent.
Thank you. Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0 with 1 abstention.
Thank you. Moving on to unfinished business, item 4.1, memorandum of understanding with West Hennepin Affordable Housing Land Trust, doing business as Homes Within Reach for 9030 Park Avenue South. May we have the staff report, please?
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Brian Hartman, HRA Program Manager, bringing back to you tonight an item for a memorandum of understanding with West Hennepin Affordable Housing Land Trust, otherwise known as Homes Within Reach, for a MOU, memorandum of understanding, to allow them to apply for funding for the development of the property at 9030 Park Avenue South. This memorandum will allow them to apply for fundings such as with the state of Minnesota and other funders, Hennepin County, et cetera, to bring back to us at some future date, if they are successful, a proposal for the development of that lot. This memorandum is necessary for them to make those applications, but it does not commit us to a project until they bring it back to us for final approval, if they are successful in obtaining such funding. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Brian? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the HRA and the West Hennepin Affordable Housing Land Trust for the development of the HRA-owned lot at 9030 Park Avenue South?
Thorson, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Commissioner Hukim seconds.
I'm sorry, was that Commissioner Hukim?
Yes.
All right, it was moved by Commissioner Thorson with a second by Commissioner Hukim to approve the MOA between the HRA and the West Hennepin Affordable Housing Land Trust for the development of the HRA-owned lot at 9030 Park Avenue South. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga,
Aye.
Hugheen,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Thorson, are you muted? Mark?
Mark, are you there?
He did make the motion, so.
Thorson, aye.
Thank you.
You got him.
And it says I can't unmute myself.
All right. Oh,
Motion passed 5-0.
thank you. Moving on to item 4.2, Habitat for Humanity, A Brush with Kindness Service Agreement. May we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Erica Coleman. On August 24th of this year, the HRA staff did present information about the Habitat for Humanity program, A Brush with Kindness. A Brush with Kindness is a program that is designed to help vulnerable, low-income senior, disabled, and veteran adults address outstanding housing violations, including emergency violations that could lead to the immediate condemnation of a home. A Brush with Kindness provides access to needed funds to help these property owners living on fixed incomes, who often also have limited physical abilities and sometimes limited cognitive abilities, to make repairs ordered by the city so they can live safely in place with economic stability. I do want to point out that there is a missing comma between low income and senior. Habitat for Humanity actually helps low income and senior, disabled, and veteran adults. We do have a current program with Senior Community Services for housekeeping, outside maintenance for the elderly. This is not in replace of that program. This is in addition to that program. And so that program focuses more on, like I said, housekeeping, outside maintenance, whereas A Brush with Kindness would focus on outstanding housing violations and emergency violations that could lead to immediate condemnation of the home. And so this is a program that we are looking to partner with Habitat for Humanity on in Bloomington for Bloomington households for a 1-year, 12-month contract beginning January 1st, 2022 for $30,000. And it would be up to $30,000 total with up to $3,000 per household for these eligible activities. Habitat for Humanity has the program in place, and we're just looking to partner for Bloomington households in particular and to see how that works in Bloomington with some of the households that have been identified as a need to remedy outstanding housing violations. I can stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for Administrator Coleman? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the resolution approving services agreement between Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity Incorporated and the Housing and Redevelopment Authority in and for the City of Bloomington?
Commissioner Olson makes that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Commissioner Hukim seconds.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Olson with a second by Commissioner Hukim to approve the resolution approving services agreement between Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity and the Housing and Redevelopment Authority in and for the City of Bloomington. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga.
Aye.
Cookheem.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Thorson. Hang on, I think we have to unmute Mark. Do you see him, Erica?
I can't see him on the list here.
Yeah, I can't.
Is he the call-in number?
Let's see.
It looks like he just got unmuted.
Call in.
He just got unmuted.
He was muted before, yes.
Okay, so,
Are you there?
Mark? Commissioner Thorson?
Sorry, sounds like I heard his voice.
Yeah, I did a little bit too, but
Okay.
Let's just ask again. Commissioner Thorson, do you have a vote on the motion on the table?
Yes, I vote aye.
thank you.
Thank you. Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 4.3, Homebuyer Mortgage Assistance Grant Program. May we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Erica Coleman. At the September 14th meeting this year, the HRA board did table the Homebuyer Mortgage Assistance Grant Program recommendation, and so we are bringing it back to have further review and discussion this evening, and to consider a motion for approving a resolution recommending the creation of this program to the City of Bloomington. So after further review and discussion with city finance and staff, we are proposing a homebuyer mortgage assistance grant program funded through the American Rescue Plan Act dollars, and using the guidelines supplied by U.S. Treasury for the use of such funding. The Homebuyer Mortgage Assistance Grant Program will be a grant for qualifying households at or below 80% area median income to purchase a home in Bloomington. The program will be administered by organizations that meet standards and respond to a request for proposals to be released after guidelines are recommended and approved by the HRA and City Council, respectively. The reason that it is a grant is because of the guidelines that have been released around the American Rescue Plan Act dollars and the timeline for which the dollars must be obligated. This program will also help to inform what a down payment assistance program should and could look like in the City of Bloomington based on the needs of the City of Bloomington residents, new residents, and those that were looking to purchase a home. And so right now, what we are proposing is that using the American Rescue Plan Act dollars to roll this mortgage assistance grant program out with the guidelines that it would be restricted to 80% AMI home buyers or below, and that they must remain in the house as their primary residence, and they must remain in the house their primary residence, and they must occupy the property within a very short time frame after purchasing. This is not going to be restricted to first-time home buyers while we're gathering the information about what is best for Bloomington and what Bloomington residents need. So I am proposing that there is a motion to approve the resolution recommending creation of this homebuyer mortgage assistance grant program by the city of Bloomington to go forward to the city council, after which this would go forward to the city council to be reviewed and then approve the timeline going forward, which would be to release a request for proposals for organizations to administer this program, and then bring those back after the respondents to approve the proposers that would be selected based on the criteria in the RFP. Then from there, it would be to implement the program and continue with the information gathering and reporting in conjunction with ARPA guidelines and the data needed to establish a Bloomington-sponsored down payment assistance program. I would stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for Administrator Coleman?
Chair Lewis, Commissioner Hukim.
Yes, Commissioner Hukim.
Thank you, Chair. My question is it's looking like this will be administered by outside organizations. I'm concerned a little bit because I don't understand the process of how this is going to happen with the housing market the way it is. Of how are we guaranteeing that these people are going to get the money in time for these down payments? I guess I just don't understand the process. I understand the outline of the guidelines. Is the process something that's going to come later, or is that something we should be reviewing too?
Thank you, Chair Lewis, Commissioner Huhim. And so the process, one of the things in the request for proposals that we would be requesting is the experience of a community development finance institution, so a CDFI, as an organization that has experience administering down payment assistance programs that are either federally, local, or state funded, even now, previously and now. And so the process would be a part of that marketing that they would be doing, as well as we will see from the respondents, there are organizations that fit the guidelines that may be interested and may respond, that have other programs, somewhat, I would say, I don't want to say a pipeline, but it's programs for people that are at or below 80% AMI. Some may be first generation home buyers, been working on their finances, their credit, and are interested in buying, and they just need a little bit more help. This also is building off of the information that was brought forward by the Minnesota Homeownership Center about the down payment assistance need. However, I do understand your question that in this market, how are we truly going to reach these home buyers, and are they going to be able to purchase a home and at the same time be able to obligate the money within the time frame that is provided by the American Rescue Plan Act. I'm pretty confident we can do that. We do have until 2024 to obligate the money, and then it has to be completely obligated and expended by 2026. And so I'm confident that as we move forward, and we're not the only jurisdiction that is looking at trying to increase homeownership for first generation, or low and moderate income home buyers, that we will see more help. And this will just be the extra help in Bloomington that can be coupled with other help from organizations such as Minnesota Housing.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? That was a lot, Commissioner Huhim.
Yes, thank you, Administrator Coleman. I feel that it does answer it. It is one of those where we're just going to have to rely on these other organizations and their experience to make sure that this process moves smoothly. So that did answer my question of how we are that the process won't really be developed until after we approve someone through an RFP. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Administrator Coleman? Hearing no other questions, do I have a motion to approve the resolution recommending creation of Homebuyer Mortgage Assistant Grant Program by the City of Bloomington?
Commissioner Olson so moves.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Thorson, second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Olson with the second by Commissioner Thorson to approve the resolution recommending creation of the Homebuyer Mortgage Assistance Grant Program by the City of Bloomington. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga,
Aye.
Huheen,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, item 5.1, Blooming Meadows South amended agreements. May we have the staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair Lewis. So Aon, who is the owner of Blooming Meadows South, would like to amend the rent and income restrictions in place for Blooming Meadows South to provide for 100% of the units at 60% area median income. Currently, the restrictions are 60% of the units at 60% area median income, and the remaining 40% of the units are at up to 80% area median income. Existing families that are over income will be grandfathered in, same as in the original documents. Upon turnover, new residents would need to be income qualified. So long as the families are there now, they would not be required to relocate. Two things have changed that have prompted this request. One, we've had a global pandemic, and notwithstanding the strength of this market as we emerge tentatively, Aon is not seeing the same rent potential in these units, and more people are at risk of not being able to afford or find affordable units. Two, the 4D real estate tax program was amended this past legislative session to be more favorable to affordable units. Under the revised 4D program, there is a larger reduction of real estate tax expense, 45 to 48% reduction versus 40%. Aon believes this will make leasing and occupancy more reliable, be a net improvement in the NOI for future financing purposes, and be more consistent with its overall mission. I can stand for any questions, and then I will just also double check because we do have Aon was going to call in and be here this evening, so I just want to double check that. But I can stand for any questions in the meantime.
Are there any questions for Administrator Coleman?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Beloga.
if I recall correctly, there was TIF on this project. And if we lower the rent amounts, does that lower the TIF?
Thank you, Chair Lewis and Commissioner Beloga. No, it does not, and Bill is here with Aon. Myra, are you able to bring him on? I can't see how to do that he can speak.
Sure, give me a moment and I'll.
Okay. And then also Commissioner Beloga, our General Counsel, Carla Peterson, is here this evening and can also answer questions as she has worked closely on these documents and this information. Carla, do you have anything to add?
I do not, although I would like to hear from the developer. The TIF is paying us back, and so I would be curious if the developer thinks there'll be any change to that. But we do have a minimum assessment agreement in place, so I think we should be good. And of course, we want the project to succeed. I do see that Bill sent us a chat.
He's on now.
Yes, I'm on now. Good evening, everyone. Bill McGue,
Evening.
Director of Acquisitions and Special Projects with Aon. I would concur that we don't expect a change in the TIF amount, particularly given the in-place minimum assessment agreement, which was established at the level we're assessed at today.
Thank you. I had forgotten about the minimum assessment agreement, so appreciate that information.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for either Administrator Coleman or other people that have joined us? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the resolution approving Second Amendment to amended and restated development agreement, First Amendment to amended and restated regulatory agreement, and Second Amendment to declaration of restrictive covenants for Blooming Meadows South project?
Commissioner Olson makes that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Commissioner Hukim seconds.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Olson with a second by Commissioner Hukim to approve the resolution approving Second Amendment to amended and restated development agreement, First Amendment to amended and restated regulatory agreement, and Second Amendment to declaration of restrictive covenants for Blooming Meadows South project. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga.
Aye.
Huhim.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. We are now moving on to item 5.2, which is now the fair housing policy. May we have the staff report, please?
Good evening again, Commissioners. Brian Hartman. Before you tonight is adoption of a fair housing policy that restates and affirmatively that the HRA will affirmatively further fair housing to further the goal of creating a safe, vibrant, and healthy community where all residents of the city will thrive. This policy was originally adopted by the City Council in 2018, and given the desire of the HRA to continue to support fair housing in all of its goals, staff is seeking adoption of this resolution by the HRA. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Hartman? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the resolution adopting and supporting City of Bloomington's fair housing policy?
Beloga, so moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Beloga. Is there a second? Sorry, was that Commissioner Thorson? Do I have a second?
Thorson seconds.
Thank you. So it's been moved by Commissioner Beloga with a second by Commissioner Thorson to approve the resolution adopting and supporting City of Bloomington's fair housing policy. May we have this? May we have the roll call vote?
Huhim.
Aye.
Beloga.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. We will now move to item 5.3, which is the adoption of subordination policy for Bloomington HRA assisted owner-occupied properties. May we have the staff report, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, before you tonight is a motion to approve a subordination policy for HRA assisted owner-occupied properties. The HRA has in the past and will in the future assist of the affordability of the purchase of homes with a second mortgage and a promissory note. We currently have several properties in our portfolio that have these mortgages on them, and we presently do not have a subordination policy for when a homeowner goes to refinance, et cetera. This policy will set out the guidelines and the procedure for those homeowners should they want to refinance their property in the future. This policy was developed with assistance, obviously, from Kelly Peterson, our general counsel, and is before you tonight for approval.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Are there any questions for Mr. Hartman? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the subordination policy for homeowner occupied homes assisted by the Bloomington HRA?
So moved by Thorson.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second by Beloga.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Thorson with a second by Commissioner Beloga to approve the subordination policy for homeowner-occupied homes assisted by the Bloomington HRA. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga.
Aye.
Hughiem.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. We are now moving on to organizational business. Item 6.1, the 2022 HRA Commission meeting calendar. May we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. This item was previously approved at the annual meeting, but since the amendment to the bylaws, this item will be annually submitted for approval every December for the following year, just so we are setting up our calendar. And so I have the regular meetings here on the calendar, but I also want to point out that there are two additions to the regular meetings right now. One is the 6th of January, which I am asking that the board consider and vote upon having a special meeting on the 6th of January. This meeting would be a concurrent meeting with the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission has their regular meeting that evening, Thursday, January 6th. They have one item on the agenda, and that item is the discussion of days in application that is due to planning. And so since we are the owner currently of the days in, we are able to attend that meeting, sit in and listen, hear the process and have any comments if we would like. But then following that one item, to continue our discussion, our study session on single family and two family standards. So I'm proposing that we do that at the meeting, the regular meeting of the Planning Commission on January 6th, and have our concurrent meeting, which would also be virtual due to the time that we're in. And then the 11th of January is our regular meeting. It will be our first regular meeting of the year, but is also the date that we have a tour of Lindale Flats at 3 p.m., which is not on the calendar, but I wanted to highlight it because I wanted to make sure that Commissioner Beloga and Commissioner Olson are aware and invited, and if able to attend, can still attend that tour on that day. And so I would look for discussion, questions, and a motion to approve the 2022 HRA calendar as presented.
Right. Are there any questions for Administrator Coleman? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the 2022 HRA Commission meeting calendar?
Commissioner Hughiem approves. Motion moves to approve.
Is there a second?
Second by Thorson.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Hughiem with a second by Commissioner Thorson to approve the 2022 HRA Commission meeting calendar designating the dates, times, and places of the 2022 HRA Commission regular and special meetings. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga.
Aye.
Hughiem.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6.2, the 2022 HRA work plan. May we have the staff report?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Attached for your review and approval is the HRA 2022 work plan. Also attached are the 2021 board accomplishments. But first, with the HRA 2022 work plan, I have broken it out into different sections. So operational, these will be items that will be coming before the HRA board during the 2022 year, that you would be, it may come before one or more times, but you would be making, reviewing, making recommendations, support, and or approving proposed modifications, revisions. So a review of the federally funded program administration plans and policies. In parentheses, what you will see is who is involved. The HRA obviously is always involved on the HRA work plan, but there may be other departments and or divisions involved, and so that is what parentheses is highlighting. Review service assessment recommendations. As you know, you approved the service assessment, high needs quality service assessment to be completed, which has already started, and we expect the recommendations in 2022 for that service assessment to come to conclusion, and then have recommendations that we bring before the board for possible input and approval. Customer and client feedback survey. This is something that would be introduced through the community development department, but it would be specific HRA division questions for our participants of our various programs and activities. And then technology software selection and implementation. We are in the process of releasing an RFP to upgrade technology in the HRA, as we are predominantly working on paper. All staff is doing everything on paper. And so this would be implementing a system for more efficiency, ease of work, and to really hold the increased workload that has happened. And just we're in 2021, now 2022, and we're using technology more and more. And so this would be that selection coming back before you. Continuing with studies and special projects, so review and or make recommendations on these. Update single-family and two-family requirements, as you saw and just approved. We're going to start the year off with that fairly quickly. Single-room occupancy standards. This is another item to be discussed and come up with the planning division. 98th Street corridor study for future redevelopment. This is the approval that has happened where we accepted Met Council grant funding for the corridor study that is happening, or that will be happening. An RFP will be released by has been released by Public Works for a consultant to meet the needs of, to assess what is needed for future redevelopment at that site and that area. Housing amendments, data tracking, and outreach. This relates to the Opportunity Housing Ordinance, but also other programs and information that we collect through our administration of programs. Homelessness prevention and response services. This is something that is newer with the ARPA funding that we receive by the City Council for homelessness response and prevention services, and then the home buyer mortgage assistance program, in which you just approved those guidelines, and that will be coming back before you, as you had mentioned previously about the process. Ongoing initiatives, reviewing and making recommendations on racial equity initiatives, community engagement initiatives, and other issues as they arise. This also involves participation in work groups and or coordination of multi-agency projects. For instance, down payment assistance work group, the BHAT, the NOAA working group, which is a regional work group, and others. And then preservation, development, and redevelopment. This is where we lead, collaborate, and or support various aspects related to housing preservation and housing and economic development and redevelopment. And so the 2030 affordable housing goals as set by the Met Council. Development gap assistance. This is where we administer the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, as well as our tax increment financing. And then acquisition and disposition of HRA-owned property, our blighted property program, as well as homeownership development, which we would have more discussion about that. But as you saw, you approved the MOU this evening with Homes Within Reach, which is a part of that homeownership development piece. So before I jump into accomplishments, I'll stand for any questions on all of this information here and all the work before us.
Thank you, Administrator Coleman. Thank you for all of your hard work putting this together. Are there any questions for Administrator Coleman? Yes, Commissioner Olson.
Thank you. Maybe a very minor point, but I don't recall, we've had different words used to describe the HRA, excuse me, and in the work plan, I don't recall seeing HRA division, the word division associated with us before. And so would appreciate some clarification. We've been called a commission, a board, an authority, and just wondering what that means.
Thank you, Chair Lewis. Commissioner Olson, you are absolutely correct. You are an HRA board of commissioners, and we as the HRA are a separate entity. However, we are a division of community development. And so when HRA division is written there, that is highlighting that that's the work of staff in the division and what would come before the board. So that's not actually calling the board out as doing the work, but that the board would make recommendations of support and or approve proposed modifications or revisions that would be brought to you by staff, which are the HRA division of community development.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Administrator Coleman? All right, hearing none, did you want
Yes.
to?
Thank you, Chair Lewis. I'm excited to just go over some of the brief accomplishments that this board has made this year. And I wanted to make sure that they were called out and highlighted. But I did break them up the same way that the work plan is broken up. And so operational, releasing a housing report. That was the first housing report. That was the first ever. So I just want to say thank you to this board that that was able to be done. We did a 3-year strategic plan and annual plan. That also was not something that had been done in a while. Bylaws were updated. We streamlined and are still streamlining policy. Board member interview and recommendation process. That was a brand new process that was implemented, and we now will have new commissioners and terms coming up. Board meeting streaming. We went live for our board meetings. We are in council chambers. We are on Bloomington, the public access channel, and on YouTube. We are streaming our meetings. We had our first ever board and planning commission concurrent meeting, and we updated a logo for the whole organization. And that was just operational high level. In terms of studies and special projects, we really had a really good year with this board of being able to approve and receive different grant opportunities. So community development block grant, coronavirus housing assistance funding, and growing community collaborations. Special TIF legislation for the redevelopment at 98th and Aldrich and 700 American. Both of those special TIF legislations were approved. We did a home improvement loan program refresh. The housing resource engagement. This is where information was provided at the Days Inn site in particular, where we collaborated again with some of those community collaborations. Mortgage and down payment assistance to even be able to put together some guidelines and to start a process towards that. Homelessness response prevention services and street outreach to meet the needs of some of our unhoused residents here in Bloomington and the various needs that they have. We discharged discriminatory covenant language on authority-owned property, and we made amendments to the Opportunity Housing Ordinance, which was very big for an ordinance that was passed in 2019, and we're already revisiting and making amendments and adjusting. And then last but certainly not least, the projects. Received Metropolitan Council Livable Communities Development Account grants. The reason this is called out under projects is because this goes right back up to that 98th and Aldrich. That's $150,000 that the HRA has received and was awarded for 98th and Aldrich for that study. Blooming Meadows South, Blooming Meadows North, Lindale Flats, in which you will take a tour of in January, Hayden Grove, the senior community that opened up, 8012 Old Cedar, which is well underway, and we'll discuss that in just a moment. The district, which opened, Days Inn, which is a site that we've owned for a while, and now we have some plans moving forward on redevelopment. And then our relationship and the approval that you did this evening for West Hennepin Affordable Housing Land Trust. I just want to highlight that and say thank you to this board of commissioners and the work that you have done.
Thank you, Administrator Coleman, for providing this list. And I want to say 2021, it was a difficult year. It was the COVID year. And it's really kind of amazing when you see everything that we were able to accomplish. So my compliments to the board. And it was great that it is nice to see what we've done. So thank you. I will be looking for a motion to approve the 2022 HRA work plan. Is there a motion?
Commissioner Hukim, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Thorson, second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Hukim with a second by Commissioner Olson, or Commissioner Thorson, Commissioner Thorson, to approve the 2022 HRA work plan. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Beloga,
Aye.
Hukim,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. We are now moving on to discussion items, and the first discussion item is 7.1, development update. May we have the staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair Lewis. So the following projects have come before the HRA board, and below is an update of their status. Lindale Flats, which is 9230 Lindale Avenue South. The construction is completed and it's leasing up. And again, our property tour is January 11th, 2022 at 3 p.m. 8012 Old Cedar Avenue South. The framing for the structure and roof are progressing. Roofing installation is to begin, and rough ends and window installation are also progressing. This is moving along. If you haven't seen it, it's going up very well, very quickly. So they're right on schedule. 700 American Boulevard. This is where the special TIF legislation was approved. Staff are working on a process for redevelopment opportunities. This is city-owned land, and the special TIF legislation was actually specific to being able to underground the power lines and transformers to allow for higher density development, which would be possible with land assembly of non-public owned land that is adjacent to this property. And so we're just working on a process for redevelopment opportunities for that, to move forward with that, hopefully to see a development soon there. But it's going to take some time to just advertise it and get it out there and be able to convey the land. 98th and Aldrich, this is where Public Works is leading the RFP for the corridor interchange study consultant. That is the first step in the pre-development activities that were approved by the Met Council LCDA TOD funding of the $150,000 that I mentioned previously. And so that RFP is live, and the HRA staff will be participating in the review and proposed selection of a consultant. And that will come back before the HRA.
Thank you.
Before going forward with anything else. 10071 Penn, it's actually 10071 Penn is the address, and then Penn Terrace is the name of the property. It was not awarded tax credits in this last round, so it is currently paused while the developer looks at potential financing and funding opportunities. And then 8200 Humboldt Avenue South are reviewing other financing opportunities. We did preliminary approve TIF. We don't have a development agreement with that just yet, but we were approved to begin discussing and looking at negotiation for a development agreement to come back before the HRA. Right now, they're just reviewing financing opportunities because construction prices are increasing. So our projects are looking at that. And so I just mentioned that below, that there has been an increase in construction and material costs that are impacting development projects at this time. And I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Administrator Coleman? Hearing none, I want to thank you for putting this update together. We always appreciate getting that. As this was informational only, we will now move on to item 7.2, which is the housing programs update. May we have the staff report?
Good evening, again, Commissioners. I'm going to present kind of a brief summary of some of the programs and kind of what their status is. I'd like to start off first with the Housing Choice Voucher or Section 8 Rent Assistance Program. We experienced a very busy 2021. We have 4 full-time staff that work on this program. In 2021, we experienced a much higher, substantially higher vacancy rate in the city, which allowed for a lot of our families to choose to move into different units, either within the city or moving outside the city, or moving into the city from other areas. That we think this was somewhat pent up demand from 2020 due to the pandemic, but those moves have increased caseloads and work. And additionally, we are able to issue 36 new vouchers to families off our waiting lists. Also included in that are families that we assisted through Days In, through the displacement of that property. Those families are either housed now or are actively seeking housing with their new vouchers. So that's exciting to be able to serve those new families. As was mentioned before, in a couple places, we've seen several projects open in the city of affordable housing. We saw 172 new affordable units at Blooming Meadows North, a new low-income housing tax credit project that was assisted by the HRA with our partner Aon. As of December, 21 voucher families have moved into that property, and we will continue to see additional families moving into that property as they continue to lease up of the second building. We also anticipate increased activity starting for the 1st of February lease ups when Lindell Flats gets its certificate of occupancy and families are able to move into that property. So very exciting opportunities for families, but also creates additional requirements with staff time and things to process those moves and get them set up in those new properties. One other thing I just want to mention is the activity of portability for the Section 8 program. This is the ability that families with vouchers to transfer their assistance from one housing authority to another, either within the Twin Cities, from outstate, or even from other states to our community. In 2021, we saw unusually high activity as a result of new properties being brought online, and we had over 100. Actually, we had 111 families port into our city with their vouchers this year, which is, we've never seen a year like that. In fact, we had, let's see here, 7 months with double-digit families moving in. In fact, we had a peak in September of 17 families port into our jurisdiction. This creates a lot of additional work for staff because these are people that are not off of our own program, but are adding on to our caseload work. We anticipate this to continue for a while as these new properties continue their lease up. And Bloomington remains an attractive place to live, obviously, which is wonderful. And also as the vacancy rates continue to be accommodating to those new moves. Then moving on, I would like to talk a little bit about our project-based voucher or assisted rental program and our rental times for future home buyers programs. These are the properties that the HRA itself owns, split up between 2 programs, 20 homes on our assisted rental program and 21 on our rental homes for future home buyers. The point I would like to make here is kind of in congruence with what I was just talking about with our Section 8 program. We've seen an unprecedented level of activity of people moving from those properties seeking other housing, and also being able to purchase homes in 2 instances. For the rental homes program, we saw 5 turnovers this year, which is, we usually see 2, maybe 3 a year. So that was quite high for us. One of those families was able to move off assistance and purchase a home, which is fantastic. Cool. Assisted rental is our project-based vouchers in our former public housing units. And we saw 7 moves out of those properties today, which is, again, very high. You usually only see 1, 2, or maybe 3 at the most in a year. So these particular moves have really created additional caseload work as people are selected to move into those units as those things turn over. We've also made substantial improvements in many of these homes at the time of turnover. It is an excellent opportunity to update kitchens, bathrooms where needed, that sort of thing. So we've been busy with those capital improvement projects as those turnovers have occurred. And then lastly, as Erica mentioned earlier, we would have done a refresh with our rehab loan program. And I just wanted to make a quick observation that program has now been reopened as of tomorrow for new applications. And we will be actively working with homeowners once again. But just as an aside, we have committed funds already to those programs through our work either prior to the refresh and those families or homeowners that we were working with who had already qualified. For the CDBG program, we've already committed $234,000 this year. And for the neighborhood program, almost 400,000, 399,000. So activity is still occurring, and we anticipate getting much busier as those new applications are being accepted. Be happy to answer any questions.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Are there any questions for Brian? Thank you again for a really good report. Moving on to item 7.3, and this is going to be upcoming items. May we have the staff report, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Lewis. Just upcoming items, any items for awareness and or discussion. December 28th, consider canceling the next HRA board meeting as just the time of year that it's happening, but also so far there are no pressing items or anything that is left unfinished. That would be communication coming out if we go forward with canceling that. I just really like to mention these items to you today. January 6th, the Concurrent Planning Commission HRA meeting in council chambers via WebEx, again, to continue discussions around the single family and two family zoning dwelling standards. January 11th, you're going to go to bed thinking about this tour that's going to happen on January 11th at Lindell Flats at 3 p.m. As well as January 11th is the first HRA board meeting of the year. And so we would welcome our new commissioner and possibly our new city council liaison commissioner to the HRA, as well as re-welcoming one of our commissioners who is here already. So the mayor did appoint and the city council did approve Commissioner Huheen for a full term to begin January 1, 2022. And then for a new commissioner, Commissioner Knorr, to finish the term for Commissioner Olson, who has decided to resign from the board as of the 31st of this year. And then we still would have for our city council liaison commissioner, for Commissioner, who we don't know who that is yet, but Commissioner Beloga, who is currently our commissioner and city council liaison commissioner, who has decided to end as of the end of this year with the service with the HRA and the city council. So we want to thank you all for your service and your time and your commitment. So on January 11th, we would be looking to welcome the new commissioner and the new city council liaison commissioner to the HRA. We also would be having our designation take place at that meeting to just get through organizational business at the first meeting of the year. So to designate the official financial depositories and investment brokers, EFT designation, and designation of official newspaper. With those, we would propose that on January 25th, so we're not blindsiding you on the very first meeting of the year, that you would hold election for HRA board officers. I would like to have an HRA board retreat in the first quarter of 2022. There has not been a date discussed or worked out just yet. We may be virtual. I don't know, as there's a lot we don't know at this point, but it would be considered a special meeting. And so it would be a change to the calendar when we can figure out what that would look like and how we can have that meeting conducted, as well as it's just a good time as we're bringing on new commissioners to the HRA board. And then exciting Saturday, February 26, 2022, the Bloomington Home Improvement Fair will be held at Civic Plaza, and it's currently underway, and staff is working very hard on planning and orchestrating this event. Are there any questions or discussion?
Questions? I would particularly like to bring up item number 1, that December 28th. What is the feeling of the commissioners about canceling the December 28th meeting? If it continues that we have nothing pressing for the agenda?
Commissioner Thorson here. I have no issues with that.
Commissioner Hukim does not have any issues as well.
Okay, and our 2 departing commissioners, are you comfortable? We're taking your last meeting away.
Commissioner Olson will adjust to that change of life.
Okay. Commissioner Beloga, will you adjust as well?
Yes, that would be, it's, if there's no business, it's sort of foolish during
Thank you.
holiday week to have a meeting. So
Yeah, thank you.
it seems like a reasonable and wise decision.
All right, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions for Administrator Coleman regarding any of the items that she's brought forward? It looks like we already have a busy beginning of the year, so maybe we need that 28th off. You guys will need a break. Now, moving on to our last item for this, our last discussion item, 7.4. Are there any commissioner questions and answers tonight?
Chair Lewis, Commissioner Hukim.
Yes, Commissioner Hukim.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to take a moment and just thank Commissioner Olson and Commissioner Beloga for their service. And they both served as great mentors for me coming onto the HRA board. They've helped navigate things for me, never been afraid to answer any questions, never made me feel there is ever a stupid question. So their dedication to our city on multiple levels and many years is greatly appreciated. And I just wanted to take a moment and just wish them the best and really thank them for their service and know that it was really appreciated.
Thank you, Commissioner Hukim. And I would echo your comments. Commissioner Beloga and Commissioner Olson have been great to work with, and they have been fountains of information, and I know I've appreciated that a lot. And they've always been very helpful too. So we'll miss you, but that's all I can say. We will miss you.
I agree as well.
All right. And I would like to congratulate Commissioner Hukim for being reappointed for a full term. So that's exciting too. So, all right. Yes, Commissioner Olson? Beloga. Sorry, Commissioner Beloga.
We've been together for quite a few years, but not that many. That seems like, but actually, I have a few things since this is the last meeting that I was planning on saying on the 28th. But firstly, I want to thank this staff. When you look at the 21 the year accomplishments, it is it's exceptionally impressive. And really, this is presented as what the HRA has done, but there are people behind this who do the work, and really, these are the people we want to thank. So we have the opportunity to thank Erica, who's here tonight, Brian, Myra, and again, all the staff who are not present. Carla Peterson is not a staff member, but she's one of the attorneys that you meet through life's journey, and she's a real asset to this organization because she finds ways to make things happen rather than to get in the way of preventing things from occurring. So, Carla, thank you. Lastly, but certainly not least, to all of you who I've had the honor to serve with on the HRA, thank you for your willingness to listen to my ramblings at time. And, we didn't always agree 100% on everything, and I think that is good. That's part of the process. that all sides are heard on issues. That is one of the most important things that I think underpin democracy. And unfortunately, I think it's one of the weaknesses that we see in Washington, that we're not having that opportunity to have that issues discussion, not philosophy discussions. So I'm leaving with mixed emotions because there are certainly things that I had hoped to accomplish on the HRA that are not completed, but that's sort of like in life. We never leave this journey of life with having all of our desires checked. And if we have, shame on us for not having enough on our list of to-do things. So thank you all. Again, it's been my honor and privilege.
Commissioner Beloga, I want to thank you as well. And I do want to make one comment when you talk about your ramblings. They have always been well informed and they have always been respectful. And that is so important these days. So I never minded the ramblings. Thank you.
Chair Lewis,
Yes, Commissioner Olson.
thank you. I want to echo what Commissioner and Council Member Beloga have said. We go back together quite a while, including he was on the Planning Commission when I broke in to this kind of field of planning and housing and that kind of thing. So thank you for your words, Board Member Beloga. I had anticipated another meeting, so I'm going to be rambling a little bit here. And during this meeting, when I heard that the meeting may not happen on the 28th and now won't be, that maybe I would put together some thoughts on paper. But I am. My tenure goes back, I think, to 2010 when I was appointed to the, I may have the wrong year, but the Planning Commission. And the staff there and other commissioners were very supportive in helping me come on as a more and more productive member of that board. And we went through a little bit of a dip in part because of COVID, but also in terms of when the administrator left and we were going with interim status for a while. And so a bit of a rough waters period of time there, but we came through that. Thank you, Administrator Coleman, for coming on board and the way that you have interacted with us as board members and in terms of picking up on things that we are interested in. The bylaws review was quite a few meetings, and I believe we aired out a lot of things thoroughly, kind of some strategic planning that went into that as well. I appreciated that process, and so kudos to the whole board, to staff, including Administrator Coleman. The development of the OHO, and I was on council at the time, but that was coming through the process, is huge. And I remember, I don't know what year it was, but it was probably close to a decade ago when I went to my first ULI national conference in Minneapolis. And that's where I was introduced to AMI and all that kind of thing. It was a conference that was really focusing on the data and thoughts about how we address the issues of affordable housing for so many people in our country, and certainly in our own community. The Gateway District was exciting for me, and that's kind of slowed down a bit, but it's there. I appreciated the process of us interacting with the public. I remember the sports page was one of the venues where we invited people to come, anybody who wanted to. and some good input from people, and the very fact that we were engaging the public on that. Look forward to how that's going to rejuvenate the Lindell Avenue corridor in terms of supporting small businesses. That's part of what we do too. We've spent a lot of time on housing, but the small businesses, businesses of any sort, but in my mind, supporting the small family-owned, oftentimes businesses that are in aging, typically strip malls and that kind of thing. So we've turned the corner on a lot of these things. A lot more work to be done, but I just feel really encouraged as I retire from this public life. And I think most people know that I'm moving north to live near my son's family, and built a home there that was a project that was bigger than I realized it was going to be. But it's gratifying to be looking forward to that as well. I will say that as the clerk at the city clerk's office, when I came and bought my my niche or whatever you call it, columbarium, my box, and she said to me, we knew each other well and friends, and she said, "Oh, you're buying your last earthly home," and so that's going to be my final resting place near the Minnesota River, and I think that's somewhat symbolic about how much it has meant to me to be involved in Bloomington since moving here in 2003. So I'm trying to go a little bit longer so I can out-ramble Jack, but I so appreciate this experience, the friendships and the debates and all of the stuff that's happened have been a good education for me, and in the process developing relationships that I treasure. So thanks to everybody, and wish you well as you move forward. I think we're going in a good direction. We've got great staff, great commissioners, and look forward to be hearing periodically and maybe even stopping down for a meeting on occasion. So thanks to all of you, and thanks for the comments, Vicki and Cheryl, and goodbye.
Well, and John, when you said that your new home is going to be your final resting place, I hope you do a lot of unresting before you make it a final resting place. So we'll miss you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we're going to miss both of you. And it's been great serving with you. But now, all good things must come to an end. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? What? Nobody wants to leave?
Commissioner Olson seconds Commissioner Beloga's motion.
All right. So Commissioner Beloga, it had been moved by Commissioner Beloga with a second by Commissioner Olson to adjourn our meeting. May we have the roll call vote, please?
For the last time, Commissioner Beloga.
Aye.
Commissioner Hukim.
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis.
Aye.
Commissioner Olson for the last time.
Aye.
And Commissioner Thorson.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned at 7:15. It was an honor to work with all of you.
I will
Happy
second.
holidays.
I say
Yes, happy holidays.